Where does this typically report? I've heard this. I do a fair amount of consulting still, and we had this problem where I was the CIO. Analytics was everywhere, right? And it should be everywhere. It should be close to where it can be applied. But from a reporting standpoint, it literally was everywhere. And we went through the organization and looked at everybody with a title of analyst, which is typically how they hide people within a budget. And we found 180 of them or something like that. Didn't report into IT. They were just data analysts of some kind, and they were all over the place. What does a good program look like? Where does this report into? What's the matrix? What's the dotted line? And then how do they ensure quality throughout the organization?
Sure. So an organization that's mature, that gets it, that is where they need to be. I usually see these teams, reporting through the chief data officer, to be honest with you, or the chief analytics officer. And these are, if they're not at the end of maturity, somewhere at a midpoint, they have their data needs taken care of. And what I mean by that, there is a central repository or platform, if you will, that these types of activities can occur in. And it's really interesting, Bill, because these types of organizations also have decentralized analytics and whatnot. That's great to have at the department level, but they're all working off the same data sources and whatnot because they've gotten to the point where it is absolutely centralized. And I say that because data scientists, if they're spending 80% of their time data wrangling, you're not using them correctly. You're not using them wisely. They should spend their time actually, applying data science to the data because the environment is such that they can do that. But usually, if there is not a chief data officer, this is something that as the CIO needs to keep tabs on because it can, go out of control pretty quick.
Yeah, that's one of the conclusions we came to, is that the IT function was going to be the data wrangling. It was going to be the interoperability, pulling all the data together and providing the tools, and helping to establish the dictionary. What does the terminology mean? Because that's the other big problem you end up with, is people generating insights, and it's based off of data that may or may not have the definition they thought it had.
Yeah, sure. So the ideal state for a data science team is absolutely to have that governance in place, to have that catalog in place, to have things such as length of stay defined for the entire organization, and that could be multiple hospital entities and whatnot. So you're absolutely correct.